the boardroom that it's the internet. If you guys just be a little patient, maybe we've got it now. And yeah, Joel says maybe Jin's peed all out now. I tell you, Jeff, every time I have had a real controversial subject and I actually start attacking the Old Testament God, this is exactly what I get. So, but it's not going to stop me. I mean, the truth is the truth, and I discovered this stuff about 20 years ago, folks. So I'm just going to share it with you, whether he likes it or not. One of the other things that I noticed about the lack of omnipresence with the Old Testament God is just remind yourself about the Tower of Babel, where he turns to other beings and he says, let us go down and see what they are up to. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but obviously he didn't know. He had been gone. He was away from the planet, and he needed to go see what's going on. He also is referring to other entities as though he's persuading them rather than commanding them. And then the Tower of Babel, for me, I mean, is really the beginning of civilization and this whole New World Order. But either way, I just don't see him as omnipresent. What about you, Jeff?
The description in the Bible involves two ideas. One, that God is omnipresent. My show from January 18 that I referred to the other day discusses that. And then the other view is basically God is in, some sort of incarnation, a burning bush, or Jesus, whatever. So the only way I can I hold the thesis of omnipresence because when I do meditation, I can feel it everywhere, and also on my show, I've discussed many different types of omnipresence, and I think I don't know if it's empirical that you can prove scientifically that it's the case, but I know you can empirically prove scientifically that consciousness is all over the place, and consciousness is I hold directly related to God, so that would be kind of interesting.
Yes.
But so you have to somehow reconcile the two ideas. If you can hold that God can be omnipresent everywhere, so like an infinite light of happiness everywhere. That's, I think, what the Bible's talking about. But also somehow that same entity can be all manifested in one creature. Then fine. That would be, if that's true, it would be sort of some kind of strange fractal type of scenario where you can have the part is equal to the whole. You know what I mean by fractal, like the little piece of broccoli looks just like the big piece of broccoli, or the whole broccoli bunch. And but it would. But it'd be a strange fractal because the manifestation would be not necessarily resembling the whole. The whole would be an infinite light everywhere. Then the manifestation would maybe be a light inside the creature that was manifesting. So I don't have much problem with any of it, really. I think it kind of makes sense. Just I think people don't have the they don't read the Bible too much and think about it this much. And
that is one of the problems I've been telling people for a quarter century is, they just don't read the Bible themselves. But when they do read it, they are coming to it from a perspective that was taught them. They're not coming from it from a fresh perspective. And the one thing that I was able to do up in Montana is I got to the point where I realized that the truth was not fully contained within the Bible from cover to cover. And plus, just before that, I had come across all these and objectively looked at all the words and acts of the Old Testament, and I was perplexed and angry and had a lot of questions. And so I just, in a moment's notice, gave everything up and committed myself to start over and fresh with nothing, no assumptions, no learning. And I know that sounds like that would be impossible, and I would agree with you, it sounds impossible. But I have seen, witnessed, experienced the impossible. Whether you guys have or not, I have, and so I do know it's possible to do that, and all I can tell you is my take on it, and I did. I was able to start fresh and have no assumptions and just start over and start seeking the truth from the very beginning, not necessarily in the Bible. And that is when my consciousness really opened up, and I started to flourish, and I started to understand things at a level that I had never understood them before. What do you find, Jeffrey, when you meditate, that afterwards you have knowledge and insight and understanding of things that you didn't really go into it with, and maybe you didn't notice you were gathering while you're meditating?
Sometimes. Let me say first that I totally, if I wouldn't have questioned everything the way you do, I would be here on the radio with you today. I don't know where I'd be completely lost. If it's only by that questioning can we break the programming and brainwashing that culture has given us. And if you don't go into this, some kind of, 40 days in the desert or something where you question all of it and deprogram, you're lost. But as far as answering your question that you just brought up, sometimes, there's many ways to approach that. There's altered states of consciousness that we can have of various sorts, whether it's a hypnagogic state, which is right when you're falling asleep, sort of between waking and sleeping. That's what a lot of scientific discoveries have been made by Stephen Hawking, for example, writes about in his book, Brief History of Time, how he made his greatest discovery in the black hole theorem, one of his first big marks. He was looking for the answer for something, and it was right when he was falling asleep, he writes, bam, all of a sudden there was the answer. And then we have Plato in the book The Republic talks about how all the answers are within us. And I've talked before on the radio how consciousness, well, let's pick up right here then afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
John, you were talking about how you're wondering, is there all kinds of knowledge that we can gain in a higher state of consciousness? And my answer to that is absolutely. This has been discussed by some of the greatest minds in history over and over, and I've experienced this as well. It's basically our ordinary state of consciousness, which is the problem. I call it the ego consciousness. Many have called it that before, and it's the one that can be brainwashed. It's the one that is ready to go to war. It's the one that is entertained by Seinfeld and doesn't know isn't interested in learning what the Federal Reserve is. So it's yeah, absolutely, John. I'm totally with you on that.
Hey, very cool. We've got a caller. It is Brian from Louisiana, of all places. Brian, how are you doing? What are your thoughts?
Hey, how y'all? Just one note, John, about your new co-host. I think the show's, you added something to it. I think it's gotten even better.
Hey, thank you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, just one quick, I wanted your opinion. I'm Catholic. I was raised Catholic. When I was in school, I'm 49 now, but 30 years ago when I was at college, we'd go to these retreats, and some people would go to a house somewhere and pray for and meditate for people who were making the retreat the first time. And I did that, and there was a guy there named John, and we were in a circle with the Bible out and the candles lit, and we were just meditating and praying one at a time, and it really got quiet. It was in the winter. No windows were open.